motion picture you're about to see was filmed by 4 teams of cameramen in more than 120 locations around the world. Scientists representing more than 40 museums and research centers took part in the explorations. There are no actors in the film. Every location is real. The facts that will be presented are true. This may be the most startling and controversial film you'll ever see. They have been to Earth and left their mark in many ways, in many places. Figures etched on the plain of Nazca tell a story of explorers from outer space. The secret of the story has been learned. The visitors have been here. They have been described in many ways by many men, from primitive drawings to detailed histories, since the beginning of man's stay on Earth until this day. In the Andean mountains of South America, on the deserts of Egypt, in the temples of India, on islands in the Caribbean, the evidence is clear. The record of visits dates back more than 500 centuries. The observations of the planet continue even today. Monuments to the visitors that were created thousands of years ago have been found. They are tributes to the gifts brought from outer space. What has been unexplainable can now be explained. The brief glimpses of visitors provide a clue to their purpose and the reason for their coming. Every law of probability proves that other life exists in the universe. It is now possible to understand how life could have been transported to Earth from some distant planet. It is now possible to understand how we are connected to outer space. A remarkable prophecy etched in stone predicts the year and the day on which the visitors will return to stay. Will we be prepared for the moment that is soon to come? travel successfully in deep space, man would have to hold the secret of his most precious dream, immortality. Distances are so vast that the spark of life must burn for eons to assure the successful transport of life from one galaxy to another. In ancient crypts, it is possible to find suggestions that the secret was known, that a process of sustaining life was once available on Earth. X-rays of mummies, thousands of years old, indicate that they were encased at very young ages. Most were no more than 20 years old. Strangely, the hand of one mummy still shows the traces of a fire that burns brightly in all living things, the Kirlian aura. Witnessing the strange, as yet unexplained event called the Kirlian effect. Its presence has been suspected for years. Only recently could the living spark be photographed. Fingertips and all living things generate a dynamic, constantly changing aura that sometimes sparks and leaps like a flame. How it works is something we simply do not know. At UCLA, Dr. Thelma Moss explores the strange world of Kirlian photography.
Let's say that there are about 6 different words that we can describe for this effect, depending on who you are. If you are a conventional physicist, you will call it a corona discharge. And that means it's an electrical emanation caused by the current and the voltage going through the object. Some people who are more inclined to the occult or to the mystical will call it an aura, and they will compare, for example, in famous paintings, whether it's of Buddha or Jesus or Mohammed or anywhere around the world, there are these auras that are circling around the head, and they would like to believe that what we are photographing with this electrical photography is a representation of that, something invisible to the eye, but which exists in and around the body. That's another word. Then if you want to be sort of non-committal, as I prefer to be, I would call it an emanation or some outpouring of an energetic thing. The Russians call this energetic thing by a technical name, bioplasma.
Fairly dim.
Fairly dim. Do you want more?
The laboratory is a sealed, light-proof chamber where the mysterious force can actually be seen. Triggered by an electrical current, the flaming halos that burst from objects exposed to the Kirlian effect will be captured on high-speed film. An ancient marine creature that died 450 million years ago displays the residue of an ancient life force.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that fantastic? What do you think that was? Okay, here's a very healthy and vigorous plant, and I'm going to take a leaf from it, and what I'm going to do here is cut off one good healthy section of it like that. And when I do, I'm going to place it on the glass electrode here so that you can see very clearly where the leaf has been cut. Is that good for you, Clark, for framing? Okay. Now, when we turn the cutting apparatus, I think, hopefully, that we will see in outline the part of the leaf that has been cut away. We call that the phantom leaf effect.
And after a moment, it is there, the aura of the full leaf. Okay, now, little friend, would you step over on each side of that
glass plate. Put your fingers on the back. I'm going to turn the power source on. Get very close to each other, but not touching. Very good. Now, do you feel that? Okay, fine. Does that feel comfortable for you?
Fine.
Good. Now, would you lean across to each other and start kissing? And please make it a passionate embrace, okay?
Use these any hands.
Yeah, sure. Use hands, use anything you can. Go to it. Fine. I think you just have a little more enthusiasm. It looks to me as though maybe Arlene is having a little more fun than Fred. Can you get more into it, Fred? It looks like it's pretty good. You can have any kind of fantasies you like.
The life force responds to an emotional experience.
Okay, that looks just fine. What is it we're looking at in Kirlian photography? And up to this moment in time, nobody knows.
Whatever is seen in Kirlian is seemingly immortal and possibly universal. In the mummy's hand, we find a life spark, thousands of years old. The mummification techniques developed by the Egyptians preserve the bodies of their royal dead for more than 4,000 years. But even that is but an eye peek of time when immortality is considered. Every so often, a hint that immortality is possible is reluctantly given by nature. Recently, at the bottom of the Earth, an international team of scientists plunged their drills deep beneath the surface of the Antarctic continent. The goal was to probe the geologic history of Antarctica. 420 feet beneath the surface of McMurdo Station, Dr. Roy Cameron touched immortality. In a pinch of earth from the Antarctic depths, Dr. Cameron has found what is unquestionably the oldest living thing ever to inhabit the Earth. After spending millennia freeze-dried in the cold rocks of Antarctica, a colony of bacteria reawakened in the warmth of the laboratory. The rocks from which they have come may be as much as 1 million years old. The ancient bacteria, never before seen by man, are once again growing and reproducing, 1 million years after they first came into existence. Immortality is possible. Immortality, or something resembling it, is necessary when we consider the vast distances of space that must be crossed to plant life elsewhere in the cosmos. Somewhere in space there is life, but where? A man counting a number every second of every working day would need a lifetime merely to reach the number 1 billion, a figure which falls 100 times short of the number of stars in our galaxy alone. Somewhere in space, there is a solar system like ours, where life exists. Perhaps it is in the constellation Epsilon Bautes, where a sun is dying, burning itself out. Eons ago, the dying sun would have threatened all life on the second planet of the solar system. Some scientists believe that a space probe was sent from that planet toward the Earth. They believe the probe sent these signals in 1927. Duncan Moonan of the British Interplanetary Society has interpreted the signals as a message